Hello, I'm your host of the Saturday show, Cody Goggin, and today we're looking at some fun stuff. We're getting things started with a great movie from 1976, Logan's Run. Based on the 1967 novel Logan's Run by William F. Nolan and George Clayton Johnson, the movie would exist in developmental problems for years, while films like 2001: A Space Odyssey and Planet of the Apes dominated the science fiction movie market. In the end, the movie version of Logan's Run would share only a few similarities to its book counterpart. But the film's design would be incredibly iconic, and it features performances from Michael York, Farrah Fawcett, and Peter Ustinov. The movie's score would be composed by Jerry Goldsmith, who worked on Star Trek, Rambo, and Total Recall. The movie went over budget, and most of it was on the lavish set and costume designs. Its themes of utopia turned dystopian, overpopulation, and the worship of youthfulness echo in society to this day. Though it received a mixed critical response at the time, it was a commercial success and has come to be known as a standout early piece of dystopian sci-fi in film. A short-lived television adaptation was produced as well, also a comic book. I discovered Logan's Run more recently than some of the other films featured on the Saturday show, and it struck me immediately as something I wish I had seen sooner. It's a great movie. Next up is our special feature, and it's all about a classic game from 1985. We're going to talk about Super Mario Bros. Mario had begun his life as the character Jumpman in the original arcade game Donkey Kong from 1981. In 1983, Nintendo developed a spin-off from the Donkey Kong game called Mario Bros. In it, Mario received his name, and some of the things that we associate with the Mario franchise began to develop. Developed by Shigeru Miyamoto and featuring the debut of the character Luigi, the original Mario Bros. Arcade game was a smash hit. Enter Super Mario Bros. In 1985. Since the original Mario game had featured almost exclusively one screen on a black background, Miyamoto wanted to make the next game a more lively and colorful experience for gamers. New technological advancements and wider experience in programming led to Nintendo wanting to expand the way their games played. Level design would change, and the implementation of side-scrolling was introduced to platform video gaming. Super Mario Bros. Was developed alongside the creation of the first Legend of Zelda game, and both would be attempts by Nintendo to make new kinds of video games. Mushroom power-ups were introduced. Characters like Bowser and Princess Toadstool were introduced for the first time, and Mario must travel through a diverse arrangement of worlds and landscapes to complete the game. Nintendo sound designer Koki Kendo would produce the soundtrack for Super Mario Bros., and it would be among the most iconic in the history of video games. Instantly recognizable and perfectly crafted to the game world, the music is synonymous with the name Mario. Super Mario Bros. Would become one of the biggest selling games for the new Nintendo home gaming system, known as the Famicom in Japan. Together, they would help to bounce the gaming industry back from the collapse it had experienced in the early 1980s. Super Mario Bros. Would sweep the world and leave an impact on video game design forever. Other mascot characters would attempt to emulate Mario, and side-scrolling platforming games would dominate the market for decades to come. The game has found itself remade, re-released, and emulated for decades, and continues to find new fans. It's still one of the finest video games you can sit down to play today. Today on Album of the Week, we're looking at a legendary album recorded from inside prison walls. This is At Folsom Prison by Johnny Cash. This is the first live album by Johnny Cash, and after years of hearing from prison inmates who had loved his song, Folsom Prison Blues, Cash had been planning for a long time to record an album inside a prison. This was not something his record executives were exactly excited by, especially after Johnny had been up and down a hard road of battling personal demons and drug addictions. But Cash was desperate to get his career back on track in the early 1960s and determined to record his prison album. It only seemed right to do it at Folsom. Johnny Cash had received a song from an inmate at Folsom named Glenn Shirley, and the song was called Greystone Chapel. Johnny was determined to add it to the set list for the evening last minute because the song spoke of the church on the prison grounds and themes of redemption. Perfect for Johnny Cash. 2 performances were held on January 13th in case the recording of the first performance was unsatisfactory in some way. The album was released in 1968 and became an instant classic. The sound of the raucous prison inmates and various sounds from the prison itself make for a wild record. The album is rock and roll in a way that only a Johnny Cash country album can be, and highlights Cash's music at a pivotal point in his career. His relationship with June Carter and his addiction and recovery from drugs are all tied to this point in history. At Folsom Prison captures the essence of all that and more. It showcases Johnny Cash at the height of his power and has been called one of the greatest American albums of all time. Give it a spin.
Well, my woman ain't my woman any longer. Yes, she told me that she's headed down the road. And if this old bottle don't save me, I'll be waiting right here for a miracle. I was tender, I was solid, I was nothing. Yeah, she left me with 100 ways to cry. Now if this old bottle don't save me, I'll be waiting right here for a miracle. 100 ways to cry, 100 ways to cry. And when it comes to hurting, I ain't shy. She's left me with 100 ways to cry. I was shattered before the pieces hit the floor. And I guess it's true that she ain't coming home. And now if this old bottle don't save me, I'll be waiting right here for a miracle. 100 ways to cry, 100 ways to cry. She's left me with 100 ways to cry. She was better for the way that I loved her. Said there were things that I don't understand. Now if this old bottle don't save me, I'll be waiting right here for a miracle.